Hello everybody, I'm Andmore Bus Videos, otherwise known as Andmore Central, and welcome back to another video on OMSI 2, the bus simulator. This one is going to be an interesting video. I'm recording it quite last minute for when it's going to be uploaded, so hopefully it'll get uploaded at the right time. Although for yourselves, you don't really know what that is. For me, hopefully I'm going to work a little bit of magic, a few miracles, and get this uploaded at the time I want it to be up. So you join me at Lawton Lane, I believe it is, and Lawton Lane End, and the terminus on the 1 service on Lincolnshire, the new upgraded Gainsborough map. Basically, Mr. Moose has taken Gainsborough, extended it to Lincoln, and then in this variation extended the 100 to Scunthorpe, and creating one of the longest routes that you can drive in OMSI 2 in the UK side, as well as renaming it to Lincolnshire to obviously reflect the fact that the map goes all over the place now. And hopefully we'll see other expansions in the future, as I have discussed in the previous video where I drove in the studio polygon now. For this video though, we're going to be checking out one of the slightly changed pre-established routes in the map that is sort of on the Gainsborough side. The repaint itself as well is created by the very talented Mr. Chips. It is the last update on the Go North East repaint pack for the B7 Eclipses. I'll explain why once we get started. But for this video, we're going to be driving this lovely vehicle, the Veiling pack by Master Switch Studios, aka the B7RLEs, B8RLE Eclipse 2s, Euro 4, Euro 5, Euro 6, articulated ones, dual door ones, all of that lot. We're driving a more standard front doored Euro 4 variation, but we should still be all alright. So we'll get the destination up. Hours. Oh my goodness. Okay, that looks like it's having a bit of fun. Let's get the blind loaded up manually then, because it doesn't appear to have had much fun at all loading that up. There we go, that's better. Sometimes I've noticed if you do it by this and it doesn't like it, if you switch off the bus and start it again, it reworks again. So we're driving the 1 service that is a town service. It goes from here, that is Lawton Lane in Morton, and it goes once the game decides to join us. It runs all the way to somewhere called the Drive, that I believe is on the Springs estate. So this is a new style update to the map, where basically you're brought in the Springs Lane and the Springs circulars into the Morton run. This map is, although realistic to the extent that most of the areas reflect the locations in real life, it is important to remember that this map is also semi-fictional, so some of the routes have been botched together to obviously make them a bit more interesting, and they're not reflective of how they are in real life. And then other runs, for example, the Lincoln Local 107 route has basically been introduced to shadow the 100 on a little bit of the corridor, to create a couple more AI buses, as well as create a little bit more interest on the Lincoln side. So before I let her on, I'll just log in this. There we go. Sorted. No, I've given you too much answer. There we go. Don't want to give you a 5-er. It has been a long time since I've driven the Euro 4 one. I have forgotten how nice it sounds. I do tend to drive the Euro 5 variation though, with all the First West Yorkshire repaints on. Tends to be what I can relate to, and the fact that those with the West Yorkshire repaint pack don't have a limiter on that set var, so there's no they're not limited to those Eclipses, so they're quite nice to drive. Quite nice to drive in my very limited spare time at the moment. So this section is reflective of the 3 service that was previously the 103 on the old Gainsborough maps. I believe this service used to terminate at Gainsborough bus station, but obviously it's been changed in how it works. It's now numbered the 1 and runs all the way from Morton through to Gainsborough and then I believe through the Springs Estate. The service is timetabled to take us 23 minutes. I'm hoping it takes us slightly less than that, as I'm in a little bit of a rush off camera. I did think I want to have a little drive, pick this route for the limited time I've got to film it, and the fact that I thought it would be interesting. So we turn right here. I know that the other one goes round if you go straight on, the one that comes from Gainsborough still goes round there, and that's also where the 590 school service goes. So verify today. Oh yeah, sorry, I just realised. Keep handing the money. Take the money. Oh, hang on. It's because I've clicked the wrong one there, haven't I? There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, let's just ignore that. It's quite difficult. Well, not quite difficult. Quite easy, should I say, to get the £2.25 and £2.75 next week. So, what is the reason behind this being the last repaint update for the Mr. Chips Go North East? Repaint packs. Very talented Mr. Chips has been making the Go North East repaint packs and a few other bits and bobs for quite a bit of time now. They've all been very nice. And why is this particular one the last one? Well, the one that we're driving now is 5510 YX10 EYT. That is numerically the last one at Go North East. All of these Eclipse 2s arrived from East Yorkshire Motor Services, all had an interior sea brie trim and entered service predominantly on the X66 service between the Metro Centre and Gateshead interchange. However, then they also got a few extra ones that ended up like this one, 5510, that also ended up supplemented on other service corridors. As you will have seen in my unusual loan buses to Go North East video that had the B10 renown as the thumbnail, and we did actually go on one of these Eclipses, I think it was 5504. We went on a different service to the X66, so they did end up on other services as well. So, why is it the last update? Is Mr. Chips leaving the repaint world? No. But are the buses leaving in real life? Yes. The buses themselves... Oh, almost okay. The buses themselves are going to be leaving Go North East. Now, it was always quite a weird one when the Eclipses ended up at Go North East, because at the time they had some older Eclipses. They used to have a lot of Scania Solars, but they did also have, around the same age, some old B7RLE Eclipse 1s that they utilised on service as well. Now, just before these vehicles arrived, those older ones got withdrawn, some of them got sold, a number of them ended up going north west as driver trainers at the time of the takeover, and then shortly after that, bearing in mind they weren't running any B7RLE Eclipses at the time, these vehicles ended up transferring to Go North East for use on the X66. Now, at this point, the X66 can be a busy service. Again, you'll have seen that with my video on these exact vehicles. On the X66, when they transferred, I did do a video on them. And you'll have seen that there are, from time to time, some capacity issues. That service to the Metro Centre can be very busy. We used to have bender buses on it back in the day, regularly has double-deckers supplementing onto the service. So it can be busy. So it was always quite an unusual choice for these buses to be on there. But they branded up, they did the job, they were reliable enough, and no complaints there, and they ended up obviously with 10 of them. You've got this one 5510. We will also drive the 1A and the 2A at some point. I just thought I'd get the one ticked off first on the Gainsborough locals, and then we'll see what the other ones are like in the future. So they had these running around in sort of Go North East. They've been running around with the CB trims and looking really nice. As I say, for those of you that have watched the videos on the main Andmore Central channel in real life, you'll have seen how nice they did look inside. I was very, very impressed with the interiors. And they were quite good, and it's become apparent recently that became apparent very recently that they wanted to get rid of them. What time? I'll read you off here. 12:15. Okay, let's up the time a little bit. See if we've got anybody else. No, let's make a move. Okay. And it became apparent recently that obviously with them being non-standard in the fleet, the managing directors changed. I imagine the engineering manager has also changed. That does tend to happen. If you have one member of management changes, the others do tend to as well. So they've decided that they're going to get rid of the Eclipses, and they're going to do the logical thing that when you do look at the fleet in the north with Go Ahead Group, it does make sense that these vehicles are going to be going to Go North West for use alongside the rest of the Go North West Eclipses that they run. They're all Volvos there, so they're all Volvo B7 Eclipses. So it does make sense. It does make sense to transfer them, and these will be operating alongside their vehicles on there. It also does make sense on an operational front for Go North West to have them, because in the Greater Manchester, so GMPT or Transport for Greater Manchester, whatever you want to call them, area, jurisdiction, they do have a limit, I believe, on service vehicles. Service vehicles can't be older than, I think we're going on about, is it 18 years or something? I know it's one of the unique places where these schools fleets vehicles have to be newer than the service buses. I think most other places they're not bothered how old the school buses are as long as they rock up, but Manchester, they prefer their school buses to be 15 years, and I think the service buses are a few years older than that. But obviously, with those limits starting to creep in a little bit at the moment, it does make sense for okay. It does make sense for the Eclipses to go over to Go North West to assist ensuring that the fleet continues to be new enough for the contract standards over there in Greater Manchester. You've then also got to consider that Go North East have won a load of schoolwork recently, I believe, and have ended up with a load of double-deckers. They've ended up with double-deckers from Go North West, so a number of B9TL Geminis that were going to be going, and they are also updating their double-decker fleet from the current Scania Omnideckers that are running, most of which were supposed to be withdrawn already, but obviously with the new contracts that they've gained, including a number of school services and other work here and there, and they haven't been able to withdraw them all yet. So I imagine what will be happening is once these Eclipses have gone to the northwest, if any more Geminis are going to come over, they might come over, and they'll probably just use double deckers on the single deck routes that you can, obviously, permitted of no low bridges and stuff like that. But they'll most likely use double deckers on the routes these Eclipses used to do. But sometimes, obviously, you need double deckers for other work. It just makes sense to have more in the float and to manoeuvre around instead of obviously having a limited amount of deckers, so if something happens or something breaks down, you're then stuffed when it comes to your school runs, as then you have to put an overcrowded single decker on. I must say I do like on the side of driving, sort of when you do a proper few hours, when I'm very rare at the moment, but when I've got a few hours off, and I like to just blast on the music a little bit, drive a couple of laps of a bus route, just have a bit of a detox like that, a bit of a relax like that. Like we all like to do that. If we have OMSI, it's something that is quite a commonality amongst a few of us who just like to use it a little bit of time and just have a little bit of drive around, a little bit of an explore with some decent music on. I can definitely see this one service being one of those routes that I will choose to do my driving on, I think, in the future. You do get a fair bit of time. I mean, we have just kept driving around. We have rushed a little bit this run. I don't think I can get through that. I mean, I'll actually have to get out because that's what you do in the real world. I mean, just. Like, literally just. And that's why, even in real life, when you're driving vehicles, beans, cars, buses, trucks, whatever in real life, that's why it's still acceptable to step out of the vehicle and check the gap before you go through it. There's no shame in doing that, just like I did in the game, because it's a lot worse in real life. If you don't do that decision of stepping out and just checking the gap, and instead go for it and wipe out a car in the process. Always worth just checking. That's the moral. If we're going to take anything from this video, that's the moral, isn't it? So it must be also noted as well that with this being these springs circular, the one does continue from when we're finishing and continues the rest of the clockwise circular of the springs, and then continues up to Morton. The 2 service still continues to go the other way around. The 2 service as well starts and finishes at the bus station still. However, just like this route is split in the middle. So you do now get there, you literally get about a minute recovery time, so you basically just keep going. You do have to stop at bus stop to let the duty sort of change itself as you do with this game. But the 2 service still goes round anti-clockwise down the springs to stay to and fro the Gainsborough bus station only, so it doesn't do all the way to Morton or anywhere else. If you do just like this, we'll get to the terminus on this, and it then resets the timetable at, but you'll find that the service then should continue about a minute after, or roughly speaking, something like that. Roughly speaking, something like a minute or so after, and then it continues. This will continue clockwise round, and then go up to Morton and have a little bit more. As per the previous timetables on Gainsborough, most of the break time is had at the bus station. There's not that much layover at Morton. There's a lot more time at the bus station, but it's a bit nicer especially when you're driving something like this. Even in, I would say, even in real life, because there's a little bit more entertainment going on in the centre rather than spending 20-25 minutes out in the middle of nowhere. So there you go, that's the terminus for the 2. This is us for the 1. Now, presumably there's people staying on and they're going all the way around the circular. We're not in this one, so we were due here at 25 and we'll leave at 26. So you literally do get a minute. So yeah, that was the Service 1, the brand new Service 1 on the updated Gainsborough map that's now called Lincolnshire, that runs all the way from Morton all the way around to the drive on the Springs Estate. It's important to note that this is very similar now to the 590 service, the school run. I feel like the same idea is being used to run it across town in this capacity that I do like. A bit of time in the middle as well is quite nice. And once I've properly redone and rejigged the AI around for the vehicles that I've got installed, it'll probably be quite nice. And when I drive this off camera, to obviously have a couple of other AI buses coming in and going out as you lay over your time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, as well as an archive of over 4,500 backseat and engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. Very, very short. We're going through the doubling section of the upload schedule. So do stay tuned for that. We have quite a lot of nice vehicles around there. We've got quite a lot of exciting other videos coming up in the next few weeks and months on this channel. So do stick around for that. There's 21 extra videos I've added to the archive every week. So do stay tuned for them, as well as OMSI 2 videos up to twice a week, sometimes once a week, but usually twice a week. Do also go and check out the And More Century YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, for more content from the real-life bus industry, my real-life transport reviews, operation overviews. There is also videos on the Go North East Eclipses, so if you do want to reminisce, now that the vehicles have been withdrawn for transfer for Go North West, if you do want to reminisce over them being in Go North East, as well as watching this video, you can check out the videos on the And More Central YouTube channel. Just type in the new Metro Centre Eclipses, I think it is, into the And More Central channel search and check out the playlists. And you will find the video that was on these when they were on the X66, as well as one of the Eclipses in this livery that was on the when Go North East had their loans in and they were using one of the old Renowns. They also managed to capture one of these in that video. So once again though, I would like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.